So the country's official reserve. So even in the new system, the many currencies play an important role, but the US dollar still has a more important role than other currencies. And in the first quarter of mm, implement a variety of exchange rate systems centered on the floating rates exchange rates. After implementing the Jamaica Agreement, all the developed countries has a floating currency, and most of the U.S. and most European countries to coaliting the floating. Other coalition floating. Other countries and regions are implementing a variety of exchange rate systems. Mailing has pegged it to the single currency, such as the US dollar, franc, and mark, etc. Pegged to the SDR, pegged to a basket of currencies, according to a set of economic indicators to adjust. Manage the floating alone, such as joint floating, 9 types totally, and look for from the current trend. Peg to dollar in is reducing, and pegged code to the customized basket of the currency exchange rates and manage the floating exchange rate are increasing. This shows the countries or regions in the pursuit of their own currency flexible at the same time. Also hope to keep the exchange rate is relatively stable and the exchange to countries or regions and lessons has been learned. The implement the adjustment of the international BOP tend to be diversified with multiple factors and tracks methods for coordination. Since since the mid of 1970s, the BOP imbalance is growing around the world, and the serious problems of U.S. trade deficit and Germany, Japan always keep a large surplus. And developing countries, in addition to the oil producing countries and some emerging industrialized countries, the international balance of payments is more in deficit position. And the whole world as serious BOP. And third is the IMF intervening to regulate. And under the old system, IMF mostly provided loans to countries with a balance of payment deficit to correct the balance of payment imbalance. Under this new system, in addition to loans, the IMF provided more supervision and guidance to adjustment of countries with imbalance, including forming a series of adjustment policies and help to implement them so as to make both the surplus and the deficit as assume corresponding obligations as far as possible. So it avoid adverse impact on the world economy. It should be said that the IMF has played a significant role in this regard. especially in helping developing countries to survive the crisis. Broke out, broke out in 1982. However, during the crisis, East Asia crisis, the weakness of Jamaica system in dealing with the international currency crisis were exposed. So it shows the response and the measures to require the crisis country to make economic adjustment were also criticized by many countries. The demand for new reform of the system was once again put on the agenda. So, with the evaluation of the system is that it overcomes the Triffin dilemma. That is, this dilemma proves that any currency acting as reserve assets alone can't avoid the dilemma of surplus. No liquidity release and deficit currency confidence will shaken. The multiple currencies and Jamaica system act as the practice of the reserve assets can better avoid this problem. Multiple currencies shares the risk. With some money problems, its reserve currency status will decline, other currency rise. And when the country, because of failing to provide adequate solvency, continues surplus of foreign currency will cover that. Under the system, when the world economy is booming, multiple currencies can make up for the lack of solvency. When a recession comes, it will not cause the world economy to mess up because a few currency goes wrong. And from the point of view, this system is superior to the Bretton Woods system. And the coexistence of multiple exchange rate systems can adapt to changes in a country. A group of countries or the world economy is given superiority to with a floating exchange rate system which has a greater flexibility. When the market signal appears, the exchange rate may change based on the market supply and demand to respond in a timely fashion. This can't only make the country's foreign economic relations and trade, um, but also to some extent reflect basic situation of a country's internal and external equilibrium. So the country can coordinate the macroeconomic policies and maintain their equilibriums to overcome the contradiction. So they don't give up in order to maintain exchange rate stability and domestic growth and price stability full employment goals. For example, under the fixed exchange rate, when a country runs the surplus, it needs to release the local currency to absorb the foreign currency, which often result in the inflationary pressure. Under the floating exchange rate, this situation will make the foreign exchange rate of float local currency rise, and the amount of local currency released to absorb foreign currency decrease, so as to decrease the inflation pressure. In addition, the exchange rate range under the Jamaica system is open, and the countries can choose the exchange rate range according to their own circumstances and make necessary adjustments. And next is a multi-factor balance of payment. adjustment to a certain extent to adapt the development of world economy imbalance that fit in the world economy imbalance, the multi-factor balance adjustment, and fit in the world economy imbalance. Due to the different stages, the multiple due to the different stage of economic development in the country, the reasons for the imbalance of international payments are different, and the development strategy and the measures adapted are different, and the conditions are different. Therefore, the adjustment methods is more flexible and is effective.